Imagine a frozen, mist-covered ocean where gray waves crash violently against desolate shores. You feel the cold wind biting your skin and you think nothing could survive in such an environment. But millions of years ago, in the deep, dark waters of the Arctic, a creature emerged as absolute master of the seas. A predator with a long neck, a robust body, and enormous flippers, it moved with the grace of a swan, but the fury of a tyrant. This was the plesiosaur, the so-called Arctic monster, one of the most iconic marine reptiles of the Age of the Dinosaurs. Since the 19th century, when the first plesiosaur fossils were discovered, these animals have fueled the human imagination. It was hard to believe that something so strange could actually exist: a flattened body, 4 paddle-shaped flippers, and, in some species, a neck so long it seemed to defy the logic of nature. The skull, small and full of teeth, seemed naive compared to such a large body and neck. Some describe the creature as a cross between a turtle and a snake, but on a much larger scale. For centuries, these discoveries raised more questions than answers. How could such a long neck be functional? What were its powerful fins for? What kind of predator was it? And most importantly, how could such creatures thrive in the planet's seas for over 100 million years? The scene takes place in the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods. Back then, the planet was different from what we know today. Large inland seas cut across the continents, forming shallow oceans teeming with life. To the north, in the region we now call the Arctic and Boreal Seas, plesiosaurs swam masterfully. Unlike us, they didn't see the cold as an obstacle. As reptiles adapted to the deep sea, they possessed active metabolisms, possibly partially warm-blooded, which allowed them to cope with low-temperature waters. The oceans of that time were populated by giant fish, ammonites, prehistoric squid, and even more menacing marine predators, such as ichthyosaurs and later mosasaurs. Within this battle for supremacy of the seas, the plesiosaur carved out its own ecological niche. While others relied on sheer speed and massive impact, it employed tactics of patience and precision. The plesiosaur's body was a masterpiece of adaptation. Its 4 flippers functioned like synchronized paddles, capable of propelling it in any direction: forward, backward, sideways, or even hovering in a stationary position, as modern penguins do underwater. This swimming style gave the plesiosaur an extraordinary advantage. It didn't need to compete with its prey for speed. Instead, it approached silently, controlling its movements with helicopter-like precision. When the distance was perfect, it would thrust its neck out like a living spear, snatching its victim with sharp, inward-curving teeth that prevented escape. Contrary to popular belief, it didn't use its long neck to attack with a whip, as this would have created too much instability. In practice, its secret weapon was subtlety, approaching calmly, keeping its body hidden in the shadows of the water, and attacking at close range. Some species had extremely long necks, with up to 70 cervical vertebrae, a record in the animal kingdom. This was the biological equivalent of a flexible spear used to catch entire schools of fish or to search underwater crevices for hidden prey. A striking example came from discoveries in the Svalbard archipelago in the Arctic Ocean. In the mid-2000s, paleontologists found fossils of a colossal plesiosaur nicknamed the Svalbard Monster. It measured about 15 meters long, with a powerful skull bristling with sharp teeth. This predator was a pliosaur, a short-necked version of the plesiosaur, focused on brute strength and a crushing bite. These discoveries revealed the group's diversity. There were plesiosaurs with long necks and small heads, ideal for capturing agile and fast prey. And there were pliosaurs with immense heads, devastating bites, and muscular arms, which could take on even other apex predators. 2 distinct styles of monsters, but united by the same cross-shaped body with 4 synchronized flippers. In the Cretaceous Arctic, where the seas were icy and teeming with fish, these animals reigned supreme. The balance between hunters and prey, however, was fragile. The slightest environmental change could upset the entire ecosystem. The plesiosaur's shape so captured the human imagination that even after millions of years of extinction, it became the inspiration for modern myths. Legends of aquatic monsters like the famous Loch Ness Monster in Scotland arose from the similarity to long-necked plesiosaurs, remembered in fossils that astounded ancient populations. Although we know scientifically that plesiosaurs disappeared 66 million years ago along with the dinosaurs, the idea of a creature with a turtle's body and a snake's neck continues to fascinate, both in popular folklore and in entertainment media. A perfect predator until the end plesiosaurs lived for over 135 million years. They witnessed the rise and fall of countless other marine predators. They faced severe climate change, sea level fluctuations, and vast continental shifts. Their near-perfect adaptation, powerful flippers, efficient respiration, and a varied hunting strategy ensured their persistence. But not even they could escape the final cataclysm. When the Chicxulub asteroid struck Earth 66 million years ago, triggering global fires and the so-called nuclear winter, the entire marine food chain collapsed. The first victims were plankton, the basis of all ocean life. Without them, schools of fish disappeared. Without fish, predators like plesiosaurs lost their primary food source. With poisoned seas and deserts of life, even the masters of the Arctic have disappeared. Their last breaths are buried in deep ice and fossil rocks. Despite being extinct, plesiosaurs left important lessons. They showed that evolution doesn't follow a single path. Some relied on gigantic necks for surgical precision. Others, the pliosaurs, relied on strength, becoming the marine equivalent of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. This plasticity explains why they dominated the seas for over 100 million years. Today, penguins, seals, and even sea turtles inherit small fragments of this lifestyle. Flipper-powered animals that cut through oceans, still surviving thanks to similar engineering. If you watch a penguin fly underwater, you're seeing in action the same principle pioneered by plesiosaurs in their millennia-long battle for survival. The plesiosaur, the legendary Arctic monster, was more than just an aberration from the past. It was one of the greatest proofs of life's ability to explore every corner of the planet, even the coldest seas, a symbol of both mystery and power. When you hear stories of sea monsters, remember, they existed. Long-necked serpents that patrolled icy seas, giants with jaws capable of crushing bone, creatures that dominated an entire kingdom for over 100 million years until a cosmic impact spelled its end. But their memory lives on. In enormous fossils found in the Arctic, in folk legends, and in the creative force of evolution. The sky belongs to the birds, the earth once belonged to the dinosaurs, but the cold, deep seas once belonged to the plesiosaurs. The reign of the plesiosaurs ended 66 million years ago, but their image still haunts our dreams and legends. They were elegant and brutal kings, icy rulers who showed that the ocean always harbors its own monsters. And now I ask you, if you could return to the prehistoric Arctic and see a plesiosaur emerge from the waters before you, how would you react? Would you stay to witness the scene? Or would you flee without looking back? I want to read your answer in the comments. If this journey through the icy seas fascinated you, leave a like so more explorers can discover the story of these forgotten titans. Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell, because our dive into the depths doesn't end here. In the next chapter, we'll meet another king of the seas, an even more recent and devastating predator, one that hunted like a true tyrant, the Mosasaurus, the ultimate terror of the Cretaceous.